anybody's here yet, this is an odd time to film, a weekday during business hours. Probably a lot of you are at work, but we'll see who joins in. I want to get this out there very quickly, and this is a way for me to do that. I really liked the last full moon that we had in Aries, where I was able to kind of go live prior to doing tarot. I think that helped. Hopefully, I don't know, that video, that live tarot on the 2 weeks ago, it had more views than usual. So maybe it was because I went live talking about astrology beforehand. But anyway, I'm here and it's cooled down in Texas, as you can see, and thank God, because damn, it was hot this summer. But yeah, I don't know, my eyes are watering too, so if I have to like dry my eyes here and there, that's what it is. I'm out in the elements. Hopefully we don't have too bad a sound, but I want to talk about this solar eclipse in Scorpio, okay? And if y'all want to chat and share your thoughts and how the energies are impacting you, please feel free to engage. If nobody engages, I'm just going to rattle on about this energy. And I want to remind you, yes, I am going live tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for tarot. And I am doing all signs, except so far, these have not been requested. Aries, Gemini, and Cancer. So if you want these signs, make sure to request them on my community page. Otherwise, when I go live, I'm doing all signs but those three, okay? So, yeah, it's like I feel like I'm forgetting something, but it'll come to me if I am. All right, let's talk about what's going on today with this new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio. Well, definitely I'm going to be reading for the fixed signs: Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Aquarius. I will be reading for them tonight, and that's very important because I think those are the signs most impacted by this eclipse. They're going to feel it the most, but of course, Taurus and Scorpio are top of the list, and if you are Scorpio, God bless you. I mean, okay, it is a solar eclipse. It is a new moon, all right? And for those of you who don't know, these eclipses are basically, this eclipse is basically a new moon on steroids. I call them holy shifts because they're not just like any new moon, okay, where people would set intentions, which I'm going to try to talk y'all out of doing. If it was an ordinary new moon, I'd say, yeah, let's set intentions tonight. But since we're talking about a new moon eclipse, all right, no, let's hold off on that, okay? Because right now we're dealing with a lot of holy shift going on, a lot of flux in the energy, and things are up in the air. And 2 weeks from now, we're going to have that lunar eclipse in the opposite sign, Taurus. So, just buckle up. We're in eclipse season. You gotta, let the chips fall where they may. And then I would say, if you want to do some intention setting, I would wait for the next new moon, which is going to be November 23rd. We have a new moon in Sagittarius at that time. So about a month from now, do your intention setting then. But right now, take notes about what's going on, because there's a lot of holy shift going on between now and the next 2 weeks. And frankly, when we're talking about eclipse energy, it's not just this 2-week time frame or even 30-day time frame, okay? It's change that is occurring and unfolding over the next 6 months, okay? So there's probably some catalyst event going on. I see we've got some people in, some people joining. Hey, Wazy, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, thank you. Wazy says, you're the best ever. Taurus #1, that's me. Yeah, well, hey, I'm there with you, Wazy, because I'm Taurus rising, My youngest daughter is Taurus. And holy crap, these nodes are in Taurus. I know it's a north node, and but we're coming into an eclipse in 2 weeks with, that that lunar eclipse in Taurus. So, and I think even right now, currently with this solar eclipse, how can you not, as a Taurus, feel this? I'm feeling this. Are you feeling this? I'm asking Wazy, I'm asking any of you out there that are Scorpio, Taurus, have any of those prominent placements. Are you feeling it? Because I definitely have been feeling it, and it's rough, especially if you're like me and you've got prominent Taurus placements and you're living with somebody who has prominent Taurus placements. And sweet Jesus, we've got the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. We've got Uranus in Scorpio, which is bringing a lot of that's been going on. The Uranus in Taurus. I hope I didn't say Scorpio. I meant to say Taurus. Uranus and Taurus has been going on for several years now, and will remain for a few more years. So it's just another layer of difficulty for Taurus sign people, where we're trying to like put down roots and be stable, because that's what we're all about, right? We're a fixed sign and we're earth signs, so we want to do that. But these energies are making it incredibly difficult. And again, that's just one individual alone, and you put two people like that under the same roof, sweet Jesus, resurrect me now. you know All right, so I want to talk about this energy, and I want to get into it. Wazy's saying, I've been in a strange relationship with a lady. She tells me she likes me, then gets mad for no reason. What the hell? Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so as I get into talking about the energy currently right now, that might factor into your situation, Wazy, because this energy is really revealing a lot about relationships. I mean, I've been feeling it. It's like things going on, and you just sit back and you go, things that make you go, like, oh, well, thanks for sharing that with me. I didn't know that about you, and now that I do, like, wow, that's a game changer in our relationship. And I don't know, I've been having situations like that. I think a lot of people are, a lot of secrets coming out in these relationships. I'm going to talk more about it as we get deeper into this. I don't think I'm going to be on here for more than an hour. And like I said, I'm going live again for tarot at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I see Lauren has joined in. Thank you for commenting, Lauren. Lauren says, feeling it a little. I have Jupiter in Scorpio, my fifth, and those fifth house themes are apparent. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and it's important. I mean, everybody's got Scorpio showing up somewhere in their natal chart. And so Lauren makes a really good point, to look at where Scorpio is showing up in your natal chart. For her, fifth house having to do with fun, dating, romance, children, creative ventures, creative expression. And so I'll talk more about also exactly where it's hitting your chart when we go live tonight and do the tarot, because I'll start breaking it down per sign, where this is impacting you likely in your natal chart. And I say likely because it's general, right? Everybody's got very unique astrology, but generally if you follow the rising sign, it'll help. But okay, so I talked to you about the power of and the impact of eclipses. I talked to you about how now is not a good time to set intentions. Let's wait for the dust to settle and try to do that maybe a month from now, November 23rd, when we have a new moon in Sagittarius. That would probably be a better time frame. But when we talk about any kind of new moon or solar eclipse, we are looking at a new beginning of some sort. The tricky thing about this is that with it in the sign of Scorpio, which is where the South Node is, it is indicating that, you know, we're having to let go of something, and it's probably is very much of an emotional nature, with Scorpio being a water sign. And when you look at the other planets that are there alongside this new moon, Venus, uh, it's see, Venus, the South Node, the Moon. Okay, this is a lot of feminine energy. So women, mothering, nurturing, nourishing, these type of issues could very much come up during this time. And yet you're having to let go of something that maybe you feel a strong attachment to. But again, with the South Node in this placement, it's like you're having to let go of it. So, you know, generally, I would say with the new moon, it's a new beginning, and it is, but all things considered, there's some ending that has to happen with this new beginning. Um, and and that is possibly, you know, having to do with all things scorpionic, power issues, trust issues, intimacy, having to do with shared resources, and maybe, you know, money issues, values, things like that. I'm getting a lot of wind. I hope it settles down, and I hope you're not having trouble hearing me, but I'm going to continue on. Let me know if y'all are having trouble hearing me. So these issues are getting triggered, and as I've said before, you know, this entire year has been full of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio, and that started actually late last year, and we're going to have 2 more next year. Okay, so we've been going through roughly a year and a half of having to find our feet. Looking at issues of self-reliance, dependability within ourselves and in others. And there's a lot of reasons that you can see globally to explain that away. We'll talk more about it and just closer to the end of this video. But nevertheless, these issues are getting triggered, and I think it's not easy, okay, because this new beginning that involves us letting go of something that we've been attached to, is happening, you know, in our most private part of life, you know, the stuff that you keep behind closed doors. So yeah, I also wanted to say, the Sun, Venus, right, are conjunct in Scorpio during this time with this full moon, and the South Node there. It's a lot of energy where it's like the Sun is telling you, hey, look at this. The Moon is saying, hey, feel this. And you've got the Moon in fall, you've got Venus in exile in a sign of Scorpio. So, you know, emotionally, there's some difficulty here with possibly cutting soul ties, possibly material ties, people that you've been connected to. But, you know, also having to look at things that you've been attached to. Are they healthy attachments? Are they unhealthy? Are they toxic? Because remember, Scorpio is a lot about, you know, what's hidden, what's beneath the surface, what's lurking in the shadows, you know, that type of stuff, the underworld. And so, the South Node, you know, in the midst of all this is really indicating that you're going to have to start a new chapter in life, but it maybe begins by taking a sober look at, a painful look maybe, at what has or hasn't nurtured and supported your growth. The Sun, whatever it is, the Sun right now is like putting it out in broad daylight, like, hey, look at this. And the Moon is like, hey, feel this. So I don't know, honestly, if you're saying, I don't know what that is, like, I don't know how you don't know what it is, okay? We'll talk more about it uniquely for you, you know, when we go live tonight on tarot. But I will say with the moon in Scorpio opposing the North Node in Taurus during this time, there's definitely this push-pull going on between, you know, everything that's being highlighted and felt that you have to release, that maybe you don't want to. You're attached to it. You want to keep it, okay? Versus the North Node is saying in Taurus, this is your path forward. This is what you got to do. This is what has to change in order for you to move on your rightful path in terms of, you know, values, income, self-worth. And I think the rough part here with this opposition is that there's not going to be any easy choices. You know, I think many of us, when we're children, we, you know, there's so much behavior modification that goes into our schooling and being parented and all that, that, you know, with the rewards and the punishment, that you think, oh, well, if I just do the right thing, I'm going to get rewarded. And if I do the bad thing, I'm going to get punished. And then when you grow up and you live in the adult world for a while, you realize, no, life is actually not like that. Life is a series of a lot more nuanced challenges where there's not easy choices. A lot of times the choices we're presented with are in some way pushing us to pick and reveal what our real priorities and values are. And I really think that's what's going on at this moment. It's like, well, you want that over there, but in order to get movement, you're probably going to have to drop that. Do you want to keep carrying this dead weight? Or do you want to drop it and let it go and say, you know what, it was good while we had our moment, and bye-bye, now I got to get on my way. I got to get moving forward because I can't get on with this as long as I'm carrying this weight. So it's also, I think, revealing what we're willing to sacrifice and what we're not, or what we're willing to continue on with and what we're not. Maybe you are like me and you're like, well, that served a time and a place, but it is now becoming a blockage and it's actually not serving me anymore. So I need to let this go. As much as this is not the way I wanted things to end, my hand is being forced here, that this is what's necessary to get growth and movement. So I think a lot of people are being forced to find their feet right now, emotionally, financially, relationally, despite feeling like the rug is being pulled out from under us. And I think also it's bringing up circumstances where many of us are having to realize who doesn't have our back and who does. And I've been a little surprised over I've seen some things out of people, I'm like, oh wow, I never saw that before. I would not have guessed that you were going to do a 180 on me like this. You know? For better or worse, a 180, okay? And I do feel also the energies right now, particularly with the economy, putting pressure on people, the squeeze on people, is creating a lot of every man for himself type of mentalities where I think that people are seeing, particularly in family dynamics, they are seeing a lot of families turning against one another. And I think the reason why is because when we're looking at these nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, we're looking at trust issues, we're looking at security issues, we're looking at values. And you start realizing, this person, they don't value what I value, or their values have changed, or my values have changed. We're no longer in alignment about values. And I think also the pressure going on is revealing a lot of cracks in the foundations of our relationships, the loose threads in the fabric of society. I mean, God, have y'all been like on Twitter? I know a lot of y'all are not. I'm kind of a Twitter junkie. Yeah, I'm addicted, certified. Maybe need to release that. South Node and Scorpio. Anyway, you know, every day now that I go onto Twitter, I am seeing people posting video footage of people, everyday people, just losing their minds, just Looney Tunes, out to lunch, can no longer cope with reality, and it is every day somebody is being filmed, whether it's a subway station in New York City where some dude is carrying around a mannequin and is mad because she won't sit down. I mean, I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff that we're seeing because, and we've never seen this type of stuff before. Like, I've never seen every day on Twitter, this is real life, people losing their minds because the pressure, Saturn in Aquarius, and these nodes revealing insecurity issues. It's all pushing us to find inner security or create it within ourselves, and find also this inability to find an ability to remain calm in the midst of a storm that we are in. Okay. But what you're seeing is a lot of people do not have the coping mechanisms. They don't have the wherewithal. And a lot of people are confused, which I'm going to talk to you about that as well. Like getting into Mars, all right, and Gemini, which is very key because, right, that's the co-ruler of Scorpio, which is a sign that this eclipse is happening in, right? Very relevant to look at what's going on with Mars and Gemini right now, which started August 20th and will be with us for quite a while until March 25th of next year. It's about 7 months, okay, because of the retrogrades. Usually these Mars transits don't go on that long, okay, but because of retrogrades, it will. And this is a lot of verbally combative energy, information wars, divisive rhetoric, and then we have, gosh, within 5 days we have of this eclipse, we have Mars and Gemini going retrograde October 30th through January 12th. So, you know, for the rest of this year, we're dealing with not only this verbally, mentally combative, frustrated type of energy, but when you put it in retrograde for the remainder of this year, we're looking at people feeling unmotivated. Maybe because they are not clear about their direction. They're unsure of, am I supported in taking this path, in moving in this direction? And, you know, maybe you're trying to get some clarity. Maybe you're trying to get cooperation. But with Mars and Gemini, you know, very divisive, like I said, where people are fighting over ideologies, and they may not even be entirely clear about what's going on. You know, like I'm seeing this kind of stuff play out on Twitter, where I think it was like MSNBC, and I don't watch any mainstream media, but I noticed somebody put a clip out on Twitter of MSNBC finally interviewed a group of locals in Pennsylvania who were, I guess they were giving their commentary on J6, okay? And these were perspectives that I think the interviewer, the journalist with MSNBC, was completely like, what are you talking about? This is a totally different script. I mean, and they don't even know what to do. People coming unglued because they're like, wow, you know, we have these whole other set of talking points, and what are your talking points? I've never heard this before. What is that about? And they just automatically dismiss without really looking at the wholeness of truth. It's, you know, looking at the part of truth, and people arguing over it, not realizing maybe you didn't have all the information, or maybe the information was corrupted or twisted. So, you know, just beware, like, more of this through the end of this year, of, especially with this eclipse, this is a revealing, a spotlight being put on secrets, abuse of power, mistrust, and things having to do with, right, Scorpio has to do with death. It has to do with taxation, government resources, all right? So as we deal with the spotlight being put on this, and these secrets having to come out, people are getting pretty pissed off about it. And I heard one astrologer, it was Joseph P. Anthony. He's really great. If you want to know more about global astrology, a fantastic astrologer to check out on here. And he said this is psychological warfare in Scorpio, you know, um, uh, with this and the Mars and Gemini, okay, particularly. All these energies are pointing towards the psychological warfare, the information wars that have been going on and are still going on. And as the truth is getting revealed, people are having to like deal with a whole nother set of information that is conflicting the information they were originally given. And now, you know what? I got to reconcile within myself. And guess what? That creates a lot of turmoil, because what happens if that new information or that wholeness of the truth reveals to me that I was deceived, that there was abuse of power, misplaced trust, things like that, okay, or that there were hidden motives. This is all coming to the surface, and people having to look at the truth about humans, that we all have a dark side, that we are, you know, even the white coats are capable of greed, of having ties to corruption, of doing what they have to do to keep their license, to keep their bills paid, to not be blackballed, to, you know, not be outed amongst their peers, and to stay in the respect and the esteem of others, as false and deceptive as that might be. I'm hearing false security, a false sense of security, the appearance of security. What I'm seeing right now, if I just sit with this for a moment, is people really thought that they had a false sense of security with certain people, in their families, with their friends, with their colleagues, based on a belief that they had a solid relationship. And when the math is no longer mathing, that reveals who's really with you, who's really by your side. Those weak relationships are going to get revealed when the money dries up. I could go on, but let me also say, with this Mars, at the time of this solar eclipse in Scorpio, we have Mars squaring Neptune and Pisces. So this is just adding to a lot of frustration, I think, that people feel. It's coming out in the conversations, but I think even the inner turmoil going on because of the underlying uncertainty. Mars squaring Neptune and Pisces is really showing, like, I'm not sure about what just happened here. Where am I at? Where am I going? How do I assert myself? I'm also, as I'm just sitting with this, I'm thinking unclear warfare. Like, you don't know where the warfare is coming from. And again, I'm going to go back to the division going on within families, friends, colleagues. You think that it's just because so-and-so couldn't pay their bill, but you're not looking at the bigger picture. Let me give you an example. I'm going to do a bit of personal sharing, okay? There's been a lot of financial tension within my family, and part of it, not all of it, but part of it is that, you know, I had somebody who owed me more money this month, and they didn't pay me. Why didn't they pay me? Because they didn't get paid. Why didn't they get paid? Because the person they were working for had a stroke and is in the hospital, and the prognosis is not good. This gentleman, do you want to guess how many of these this man has gotten? Need I say more? I try to warn people, by the way. This is happening. You think I'm going off track. I'm not going off track. It's all interconnected. People in the New Age community like to say it all the time, all are one. Well, it's all a domino effect, okay? It is a domino effect. And when you start realizing that that what is happening on the collective level is affecting our relationships, and it's affecting, there's a bee right there. I'm gonna stay cool on that bee. Life stings sometimes, okay? But what's going on the collective level is impacting us relationally and individually. It is a domino effect. And there's a lot of people right now who are not connecting the dots. You will see domestic violence situations going on, I would say probably closer into toward 2 weeks from now. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. We get into that lunar eclipse in Taurus. Oh my God, you think it's rough right now? Buckle up. I don't mean to scare y'all, but there's could be some emotional outbursts during that time, domestic violence situations, and you think it's just a husband arguing with his wife or whatever, vice versa. But no, look at the bigger picture. Just side note, this is what saddens me so much with my channel. I know a lot of y'all are about relationships, and that is very important. We are here for relationships. We're here spiritually in this spiritual school to love and be loved. Okay, it's very important. However, people that don't want to talk about what's going on in the world at large collectively and how that impacts us, how the macro impacts the micro, you know, you're getting lost in the sauce. You can't, if there's distortion that's happening in your perception of reality because you think that certain issues are just between you and isolated with another person. No, it's a collective problem that's going on. Yeah, Scorpio saying this is crazy. I want to run and hide. Oh, I bet. Scorpio butterfly. I bet. I am so sorry. Lauren is saying bee spirit wisdom popping in. That's right. Sometimes life stings, right? That's the wisdom, and it happens, and it's life. But bees do make sweet things, right? I like some honey. I like some honey. Anyway, so back to the energy, you know, at hand. There's a lot of people right now that are unsure of, you know, what's going on, why, and you know what to do about it. And I think that we've got to be aware of this lost feeling within ourselves and others, this feeling of being disoriented. If you are feeling that right now, know that you're not alone. It is a collective energy. And with Jupiter loosely squaring this Mars, you know, placement, it's very much amplifying confusion and delusion. And so again, this is even more reason for everybody to just kind of try to take a chill pill, because there's a lot of information coming out and being revealed, but there's still a lot of confusion that we're sorting through and figuring out, okay, where am I? Where have I been? Where am I at? Where am I going? What do I do about this? And particularly if you are trying to coordinate with other people in a family dynamic, a group work dynamic, something like that, it's like now's not exactly the time. Get your information together, take a deep breath, be gentle with yourself. Especially, you know, if you're frustrated and you're dealing with other people who are frustrated. I also want to talk about Pluto and Capricorn. It's squaring Mercury and Libra at this time. And Pluto is important because it's a co-ruler of Scorpio. And so, you know, with this energy, people are probably feeling pressured right now to remain diplomatic in the way that they're communicating with other people, but they're finding it very difficult, okay? And I even noticed Mercury and Libra is opposing Eros and Aries, so people are thinking a lot more in terms of the long term, okay? Who am I partnering with? Is this a viable partnership? And there could be some anger possibly coming up during this time about how you may feel like you're having trouble getting expansion with what interests you on a personal level, your self-interest. And I want to use this kind of cautiously. Yes, people can be very self-interested in this time. I'm definitely noticing that, and very frustrated because it's almost, I'm getting some kind of vibe of wanting to use or utilize others and frustrated because they can't. And I'm somewhat guilty of that as well, because I've started to notice like this every man for himself type of energy, and I'm like, whoa, okay, you're not Team Stephanie, right? Noted. Okay, I can't count on this person. This person's not reliable. This person doesn't have my back. This person's not making me a priority. Holy shit. Um, the self-interest of some people, the unhealthy self-interest of some people is making other people have to, by force, by default, become self-interested themselves. So again, there's a healthy, like, boundaries. Where do you end and where do other people begin, and how do we cooperate and all that? I think it's getting super blurred at this time. Just sit back and watch people's allegiances and alliances, and you know you're getting a lot of information right now, and it might be unsavory. It might be not what you wanted to hear, but what you need to hear. Okay. So that, like I said, when we get that next new moon on November 23rd in Sagittarius, that is not an eclipse, we can set intentions, very powerful intentions from that point on, having this clearer knowledge of the truth and who we need to be partnering with and who we don't. Okay. A reminder, we just got out of retrograde of Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, so we've been through a lot of restructuring. I think with a lot of humanity at large, okay, has been through a lot of restructuring. But during this time, Saturn is squaring Uranus and Taurus with the North Node there. So this is both very fixed energy. And this energy is highlighting blockages in relationships, particularly concerning areas of responsibility, shared resources. And these blockages may have you in a bit of a wake-up call, or coming into sudden clarity, because you start asking yourself, wait a minute, is this worth it? If this person does not have my back, if this is a non-reciprocating one-way relationship, should I keep investing myself in this person? Particularly at a time with these nodes where, we're seeing a lot more scarcity with resources, or resources don't go as far as they used to. If you have been pouring into somebody, investing, pouring, maybe giving sacrificially, Scorpio, right? And they're not returning, or they're not reciprocating, and maybe they're resenting you because you're not giving them more. You are not just, you know what I'm saying, giving to them something that maybe you don't even have. And again, why you don't have it, bigger picture stuff going on. But because people can't see the bigger picture, they think you're the enemy. And it has families turning against each other, people in relationship turning against each other. But again, you might have to make some tough choices. If you can't get other people to see the light in the bigger picture and to cooperate, this could be a wake-up call for you, that you have to cut some ties and let some people go, because you may not be able to continue investing in a one-way relationship any further. And particularly if you're dealing with people who, for whatever reason, whether they mean to it or not, or they want to or not, or blah, 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 they are creating some kind of limitation in your life in terms of, or difficulty in terms of you getting change. Maybe they're causing you to miss opportunities. Who knows what it is? I do want to remind you, we have one more month of Jupiter in Aries and Neptune in Pisces retrograde. So, you know, one more month of feeling this, I'm having trouble getting expansion in my life. And looking back at, how did I not see that? Where did I miss the boat? Where did I not see this clearly? Okay. Where did my wishful thinking get too off the rails here? That's over the next month. But I think by the end of November, with that new moon on the 23rd that I'm telling y'all about it, which is a great time to set new intentions, we're coming out of these retrogrades where I think that it'll be a little bit better in terms of the clarity for this reason and getting the expansion as well. Um, but also keep in mind that, you know, we're talking about Jupiter and Aries, okay? And Aries is ruled by Mars. Very, very important with this energy right now. This is putting a lot of people into this self-focus, okay? A lot of self-reflection, a lot of reevaluation. But hopefully, like I said, we'll come out of that in about a month. Chiron is also in Aries as well, retrograde. And so, you know, we're doing a lot of reevaluating self-worth issues. If you are in relationships where part of these limitations and blockages are leaving you feeling like people aren't putting value back into you, people are not acknowledging your contribution, your worth. If you feel like you are being drained and you are not being replenished, it can have you, you know, really reflecting on, well, how do I get the value? How do I add more value to my life? How do I, you know, like if it's a job, if you're not getting paid what you're worth, or maybe they gave you a raise, but it doesn't cover inflation. How do you make the necessary changes to do that? These are things you're going to probably be thinking on over, like, definitely right now and well into the next month. And I think that hopefully by the end of November, taking some action on it. But right now, just sit with it, do your information gathering, get your clarity. We do have 3 more months of Uranus in Taurus retrograde. So if you have been having trouble getting meaningful change with your personal income, your resources, your possessions, I can see, you know, just be patient with yourself. It's an energy, this too shall pass. Now, finally, I want to say with these eclipse energies, as I said from the start, we've got another eclipse in about 2 weeks, November 8th, actually, lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is the opposite sign of Scorpio, right? This is going to be an ending. It's some closure, culmination when we're talking about lunar eclipses. Again, impacting over the next 6 months. This could have a lot of people reevaluating, do I want to still be in this relationship, this job, this political party? Hey, this is happening in the United States during the midterm selections. Did you hear me, YouTube? I said selections. They don't like me talking about that other stuff. They took my video down when I talk about that other stuff. So we talk about selections, okay? Which actually is probably more of an honest statement. Anyway, I digress. So that's going to be a shit show around the 8th for a multitude of reasons, energetically, you know, and otherwise. And so, you know, buckle up, get ready, because I do think that with these, particularly this eclipse today, it is making humanity a lot more aware of things than ever. Secrets coming out. Remember, it's not just today. It's over the next 6 months. Secrets coming out over the next 6 months. Possibly having to do with, okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's getting exposed. Issues with corruption, you know. But again, in 2 weeks, That's opening up a doorway. That's a catalyst event right there, 2 weeks from now, with that lunar eclipse, having to do with all things Taurus, which could be, yeah, trust issues, but also like food, the basics of life. And maybe people start connecting the dots as to why, well, hot damn, that's why, that's why I can't afford that food down at the grocery store anymore. Because they had this kind of stuff going on in the background that they weren't telling people about. And now you start connecting the dots. And I will say that if all this pressure and adversity and these blockages over the next 6 months reveal to us that there is, bigger energies at play here, and that people on an individual level have been victimized by things that are out of their control, things that were brought on by an abuse of authority, misplaced trust. This is going to be a time, I feel, where, yes, you will have the opportunity to repair those relationships, but again, if it hurts you to let go of certain people, I really feel like Spirit is allowing it, because we have to know where we stand with people, and nothing reveals character like adversity. You want to know who your real friends are, you want to know who your real family is, go through an economic crisis, lose your home, lose your car, lose your house, lose your health, and see who is still standing there with you. And then you know who really has your back. And it's very valuable information. It's a gift curse, right? Nobody wants to go through that, but through that experience, you find out who your ride or die people are. You find out who really deserves your trust and your effort and your sacrifice and all of that. Back onto that lunar eclipse on the 8th, I'm going to say what's making it extra ugly, is it's going to be conjunct, Uranus and the North Node. And so it's squaring Saturn. So that's really what's, squaring Saturn is really adding a lot of pressure and stress. And the pressure is there to get you to change. And again, it might be similar to what we're feeling right now. I don't want to. This is not what I wanted. This is not what I felt good about. And this is not what I attached myself to. And Spirit is like, too bad. You want to get progress? Let it go. Who wants to hear that? It's going to come up again, 2 weeks from now, of this need to change, but not sure exactly what's going on and what to do about it. So do be careful leading into, 2 weeks from now. I'd say over the next 2 weeks, be careful about emotional outbursts, particularly around the 8th. Emotional outbursts from others, because they can't deal with reality. They can't cope with the truth. And you're going to see a lot of people having stellar meltdowns. And granted, there's a lot of heaviness going on right now because of, there has been incalculable loss to humanity. Numbers have been buried, but you think about it. How many people do you know that have or been debilitated, bedridden, not able to function and go to work because they, Okay, so let me kind of summarize this also, individually, and then I'm going to end. Individually, this is a time currently with the solar eclipse in Scorpio where we need to be considering within ourselves what we need and what we value. And what must you do for yourself to meet those needs regardless of others. Relationally, it's a time to ask yourself, Have you aligned yourself with people who you can trust and who trust you in return? If there is mistrust in your relationships, can this be restored? How can you ensure and support mutual empowerment in your closest, most private relationships? And what relationships must you purge or prune because there's a lack of trust and a lack of empowerment that works both ways? Globally, like I said, secrets coming out, like right last week, the big thing was, oh, it doesn't stop transmission. Shocker. Well, this is a game changer, right? And then they try to backpedal and say, well, we never said that. We never promised that. And now you're seeing these viral montages going on these video clips of all these people, these talking heads, these politicians who promised that if you did this, you wouldn't spread that. Okay? And guess what? Not true. It's coming out. They admitted it. And so then why was everybody locked down? Why did people lose their jobs? Oh God, I so miss doing the political Astro. I could go on a whole rant here, but just come over on Twitter if you want more. Okay. By the way, I did put out a video about that to see if any of you were interested in me doing more political Astro Tarot. And I will not be launching until at the earliest November 23rd, okay? Also an Aquarius only channel. I put out feelers for that as well. Put a video on that. But anyway, back to what I was saying about this global energy right now with this astrology. Look at things going on with people who have prominent Scorpio placements. I told you from the beginning, anybody who's got prominent Scorpio placements, they're feeling it. Tauruses are feeling it as well because that's the opposite sign of Scorpio. But look at our leaders, our world leaders, and like Biden has a Scorpio stellium, so we are probably going to see a lot of secrets coming out over the next 6 months having to do with that family, particularly his son, confidential documents, issues having to do with betrayal, secrecy, maybe even mental decline, okay? And Kamala Harris has Mercury and Neptune in Scorpio. So over the next 6 months, she could be stepping into a higher authority or asserting herself more in a sense of in a more of an authoritative role. Trump, I think over the next few months is probably we're going to be hearing a lot more, if not from him in the news, but I think both, frankly. And this is because he is a Gemini and we have Mars in Gemini. And with Mars going retrograde, like I said, October 30th through January 12th, this could be a revisiting of information, communications, documentation having to do with Trump. And again, I'm also seeing possibly secrets, documentation coming out having to do with Scorpion South Node issues, the fentanyl crisis, which now I'm hearing some reports showing that it is the leading cause of death in the United States, documented on record. That is not accounting for the insurance companies reporting a 40% increase of deaths. And a lot of them are for unknown, sudden, unexpected. Gee, I just don't know what could have brought this on over the last 2 years. Sorry, I'm frustrated and angry because it's like, why do we need to spell this out? Oh, it's going to get spelled out. You just wait, buckle up. We've got 6 months of this getting spelled out for people who have a learning curve, okay? They're on the learning curve. They will get caught up. They will get briefed. They will get the memo if they don't have it already. I could go on. Honestly, there's a lot. Scorpio is not only about shadow aspects, and health issues and death. It's also about, like I said, shared resources, taxes, the government. And I think that we're going to be seeing over the next 6 months them trying to usher in this digital currency. And I know some of you are like, I've been talking to you about this for over a year now. Um, and y'all think there's some way around this. And, well, good luck, because I do believe that over the next 6 months, we're going to be having more of a push for digital currency. We just saw that there was an executive order issued from the White House having to do with their desire to regulate the development of cryptocurrency in the United States. And Gates is also um, behind a lot of funding for digital IDs that will be tied into this digital currency here in the United States. Just saw reports that the World Economic Forum has installed another puppet out in the UK, Rishi, I think his name is. And apparently he comes from one of the wealthiest families in the UK who owns a digital ID company. Oh, isn't that convenient? We are in the midst of a financial reset. They are trying to control our resources and what we do with them. And we're already seeing, right, about a week or so ago, PayPal freezing, threatening actually to fine people for free speech violations. This is similar to Canada trying to freeze accounts earlier this year. And they're talking in Canada about bringing in the social credit system, not just Canada, UK, but we're getting echoes of it out here in the US. So buckle up. The next 6 months, you're going to hear more of the government trying to control resources and the use of resources, because they want to make sure you're directing your dollars, your digital dollars, where they see fit, that you're buying from their corporations, not the local moms and pops, or that if you speak out about something, they can just lock your account down and engage in economic warfare to stifle competition, stifle a difference of opinion, okay, or the sharing of information. So they're getting a lot more blatant. And I think that over the next 6 months with these eclipses, it's going to be harder for these people in authority to keep up the charade that's been going on definitely since 2020 onward. And you see the World Economic Forum, they're really not even hiding it anymore. I hope that's not a B. Okay, it wasn't. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're coming out like on camera and they're just telling people straight up, like, yeah, so we've installed like most of the people in the cabinet in Canada, you know. The good news, though, is, right, they just got I think it's a premiere in Canada. I forget her name. Alberta, I think. She said that they're no longer doing this. They're not going to have the World Economic Forum running Alberta. So bravo out there, and we need more of it. She's being called the Ron DeSantis of Canada. And we need more of those worldwide, but unfortunately it's going to take a lot of pressure to get people to rise up, and it's going to take a lot of revealing of secrets, secret power structures, abuse of power, abuse of authority. That is going to be necessary in order to bring this shift in. So, that's the good news about the bad news. And try to keep that in mind as the squeeze is on your most interpersonal relationships. Understand there's a war going on out there, and they want us fighting each other. They want us thinking that it's about, you, and me, and all of this. And if we join together and we unite, we're super powerful. I went on longer than I expected about the global stuff because I am so passionate about it, but and I even with that I left a lot out. So if you want to know more about it, like I said, follow me on Twitter at warriorwoman 212. You can find me over there on that profile. But if you like it more, you know, in the context of astrology, of course, Leo King is fantastic. He is awake. And so is Joseph P. Anthony, astrologer, here on YouTube. And I definitely encourage the awake readers and astrologers, because we need to shake this shit up and knock out the lies. Okay, the psychological information warfare has got to stop, and let's do that by sharing the truth and supporting people who are sharing the truth. I thank you for joining in, and I am done with my long rant. How long have I been? Oh my God, an hour exactly. Okay, so I'm going to sign off now, and thank you for showing up, and I hope to see you again at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, when I will go live for tarot. And like I said, I'm doing all the signs tonight except these three: Aries, Gemini, Cancer. If you want me to read for these, you need to go on my community page and you need to request it in the comments, okay? Looking forward to connecting with you later tonight. Y'all be blessed.